Welcome to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be replacing the charging system on this BMW R80/7. This procedure is going to apply to all BMW Airhead models, and as you can see by this video, the RPMs are at almost 3,000 RPM, and the generator light is illuminated. But without further ado, let's get to it. Before we get started, we'll have to remove our battery ground cable, and we can either do that directly at the battery or down on the transmission. Once that's removed, we can go ahead and remove our 3 Allen head fasteners that hold our front cover on our engine, and behind that front cover, we will see our charging system. So looking at our charging system here, you can see there's a lot to be desired. Now this bike is equipped with a digital ignition system, but you can see here the stator's super rusty and everything, all the aluminum's very, very oxidized. It's very old, worn out. It's definitely gotten wet and a lot of moisture. So that is likely why we're having these issues. Now that our front cover is removed, we can go and remove our connections to our stator. So there's 2 connections up top. It's a brown wire and then a blue wire with a black stripe, and then your Y-post connection, which is just a black wire. And then you have these 3 wires, and we're going to be replacing these 3 wires that go up to the diode board, and there's no particular order. So we're going to remove these 3, and once all of the electronics and stuff are removed, or at least all the connections are removed, we are going to go ahead and remove that center bolt with a 6mm Allen. So when you're removing the center bolt, it's going to start unthreading, and then there's going to be like a dead spot, and then you have to unthread it again. So you're basically unthreading it from the crankshaft, and then you're going to be unthreading it from the rotor, and we're going to go over why in a little bit. So I mentioned that this bike has a digital ignition, so these bolts are going to be a 4mm Allen, but in your case, it's likely going to be either a flathead or a Phillips. Once we have these 2 removed, we can move ahead to our outer 3 bolts that hold our stator cover on. These are a 4mm Allen, and then once those are off, I just use a screwdriver and kind of pop the cover off. I do apologize, I am a little bit destructive in removing this. These connections could be unbolted and unsoldered, but I'm actually just using a wire cutter because this component is just so far beyond repair, and none of this is going to get reused. So I just cut these wires off. Once we have those undone, you can see just how bad this outer stator cover is. I mean, just look at that thing. It is real rough shape. So now we have to pull our rotor. So I'm using a rotor puller tool that threads into the threads that are on the rotor, and it actually pushes on the nose of the crank. So just using an impact, it gives it a sharp jolt, which jars it loose. And once that's loose, the rotor just pulls straight off, and that's actually a tapered press fit. And just looking at that, how crusty that thing is. And now our stator, again, just gets pried off with the screwdriver, and look at the condition of this thing. This thing looks like it was just found in the bottom of the ocean. It's super rusty and corroded, and there's a lot to be desired here. We're also going to be, since we're here, replacing the crankshaft seal, the front crankshaft seal. So just using a seal puller tool, pop that loose, and you can just you can pry that loose with a flathead screwdriver. But when it comes time to put a new one on, I just like to use a socket. There is a specialty seal driver, but not everyone has that specialty seal driver, so I'm just using a large socket and then just kind of using the palm of my hand and pressing it in nice and uniformly with that socket. And you'll just pound that all the way down flush. So with a considerable amount of pressure, you'll see it just goes flush, and it won't go beyond flush, and that's exactly what you want it to look like. So now I applied a little bit of grease to that seal, and I'm sliding the new rotor over the nose of the crank. And then moving on to our stator, we need to fit this in a way so that those little half moons that are kind of black right there that I'm pointing at, Those half moons need to be aligned over the bolt holes. That has a little bit of a cutaway, so the bolts will clearance it. The wires we need to get bent out of the way so that we can fish them through our outer cover, along with that Y-post connection. We'll need to depress our brushes so they can be slipped over the rotor. And we're just going to kind of be very careful and mindful that all these wires are routed nice and neatly, and they're not pinching or binding or shorting out anywhere. So once we have all three of these connections through, we're going to go ahead and tighten up our center rotor bolt. Again, I have an electronic ignition, so that's what that outer disc is. Yours likely does not have that. And then the outer 3 4mm fasteners that hold our outer stator cover down in a nice uniform pattern. So we can now connect the connections on our outer stator cover. So I'm using a pliers and I'm just going to kind of bend these wires out of the way and putting them in the little groove on this connection. Once we have all three wires situated, I'm going to use a battery operated soldering iron, making sure and being very mindful not to get this connection super hot with like a more powerful soldering iron. If you're doing so, you can cause some damage, and that's not what we want to do, because then you're going to be restarting this entire job. So if you have a soldering iron at home, if it has a heat setting, use like a medium or a low setting, and then we can just trim the excess away. So now moving on to our Y-post connection, we're just going to undo our spade terminal, slide that eyelet over that stud, and then tighten everything here back up. Be careful not to over tighten any of this stuff because these electronic components are pretty fragile. So now testing our rotor here, we're just going to use a multimeter on the ohm setting, and you can see we have 2.8 ohms. On our old rotor, using that same multimeter across the rotor, we are at OL, so that unit was indeed bad. We can now move on to replacing our diode board. Relieving our diode board, it's 4 4mm Allens, the same socket that we've been using, that secures it to the engine. Once we have all 4 of those bolts relieved, the diode board will just pull out, and there's going to be a blue wire on the back side that's a part of the engine harness that needs to be removed. And then on the right side of the diode board, there's a thick red wire that also needs to be removed. Once those two are removed, the diode board will just pull straight out. And what you see here, we still have that Y-post connection, and look at the sheathing on those 3 wires. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before. With our new diode board, we're going to go and replace our Y-post connection wire harness and these 3 yellow wires. So we can just slip those connections over our diode board, making sure that they're nice and secure and fully seated. And once we have done so, we can then fish our diode board through, reconnect our blue wire, and then we will have to route those 3 yellow wires in a way kind of behind the engine there and through those pockets, and then tighten up those 4 4mm Allens. So there's only 4 connections on the back side of that diode board. And now we can reinstall our new Y-post connection. We are replacing this wire just because the old wiring was in rough shape. And then we can reconnect the 2 wires that are on top of our outer stator cover. That one of them is that blue wire with the black stripe, and the other wire is that solid brown wire. And then those 3 yellow wires that we connected to our diode board earlier just get connected to our outer stator cover in really any orientation. The order or sequence of these wires does not matter whatsoever. So we have our Y, this yellow wire here on our Y that goes down to this post right here. our brown wire hooked up there, and then our blue with our black tracer hooked up there, and then our 3 yellow wires that go to the back of the diode board right on these 3, those are all hooked up. Our big thick red wire is hooked up there, and then there's a D plus terminal that the blue wire goes to on either one of these. It doesn't matter, one's gonna be open and the other one's gonna have the terminal on it. It doesn't matter which one you choose. So we have all of this up here, all completely redone. I have the electronic ignition put back on, and we're all clean up there. I have the battery connected. Turn our key on. So when we turn our key on, we have our oil pressure light, we have our generator light, and we have our neutral light. So obviously the bike does not have oil pressure right now because it's not running, but once the bike starts up, the oil pressure light will go out. The generator light here will likely stay lit or dimly lit, and our neutral light will stay lit as long as it's in neutral. So give this thing a start. So now the bike's running. You can see the oil pressure light went out, obviously, because the bike has oil pressure. So as we rev our bike up, right there. So you can see our neutral or generator light comes back, and then when we rev it up, just past 1,000 RPM, it goes out. With the bike running, to test the charging system, I'm going to hook up my positive and negative terminals to the battery. The bike's running, we have 12 volts. I'm gonna rev